Hi everyone, how you going? Welcome to Online Kids Church this week. We're in, what are we now? Term 3, week 4. We're kind of losing track of the dates, aren't we? Well, what have we been learning about so far over the last couple of weeks? We've been looking at the book of 2 Samuel. Do you remember the different things that have been going on? Well, in the first week, we learnt that David, he trusted God and he became God's king, God's way after Saul died. That was week number 1. Week number 2, we learnt that David wanted to move the ark, didn't he, into Jerusalem. Now, it didn't start very well, but in the end, David treated God really well, treated the ark really well, respected God, and it came in and David sung and rejoiced that God was going to be with his people in Jerusalem. Now, as David looked around, do you remember the next week? This is what we learned about last week. Well, David was living in this palace, but God was just living in this tent in the ark. And so David thought, hang on a sec, I should do some building for God. But God said to him, no, you're not going to build a house for me. I'm going to build a house for you, and your kingdom will last forever and ever and ever. That's pretty cool. Now, we're going to learn this week about what kind of king would David be. Well, we're going to learn that today as we learn about a guy named Mephibasheth, who was Saul's grandson, Jonathon's son. How would David treat him? Well, let's stay around and find out about that today. But before we do, last week we had a bit of a Lego challenge to see who would build some houses. Now, there are some pretty good ones. Here is Felicity and Taryn's one. That's pretty amazing house to be able to build out of Lego. Great job. Excellent job, girls. Work very well done. And Tim also built this one, a bit of a tall one. I don't know what was going on there. It did come crashing down during the week, sadly, but that's pretty cool. Good building. If you've got any other building ones that you've made during the week, send them through to me and I'll see if I can put them up next week. Well, what's going to be going on today? Well, we're going to be doing some singing, some memory verse, a talk. There's going to be some prayer. We're going to do some craft. Also up on the church website, there are some activity pages. So why don't you print them out and get going with them. But let's get started. So jump up on your feet and let's do some singing. Okay, we're going to do some singing again. Now, this is a new song for some of you. Some of you might have sung it before. It's called Our God is a Great Big God. Now, Ian's going to come in and he's going to do some of the actions for us, which will be pretty cool. Okay, it goes like this. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. And he holds us in his hands. So even though God is really big and amazing and wonderful, he loves us and cares for us. He cares for us in a great way, like we would hold something in our hands. You see, he's big, so he's higher than a skyscraper. Now, they're pretty tall, but also he's deeper than a submarine. He's the tallest, he's the small, but you see, he's also wider than the universe because he made it just by speaking. And that means no matter how big we can think, he's beyond our wildest dreams. But even though he made all that, he knows us and he loves us. Since before the world began, God chose us to be with him in Jesus. How wonderful it is to therefore be a part of God's amazing plan and be part of his family. Okay, we're going to give it a go. Hopefully I'll get it right this time. Let's give it a go. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and he holds us in his hands. Let's sing it again. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and he holds us in his hands. He is higher than a skyscraper, and he's deeper than a submarine. He's wider than the universe and beyond our wildest dreams. And he's known me and he's loved me since before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. Okay, let's give it a go again. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and he holds us in his hands. He's higher than the skyscraper, and he's deeper than a submarine. He's wider than the universe and beyond my wildest dreams. And he's known me and he's loved me since before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. Okay, we're going to sing the last bit again. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and he holds us in his hands. Quiet up. And he holds us in his hands. And he holds us in his hands. And he holds us in his hands. Loud. And he holds us in his hands. Good job. Hope you had a bit of fun singing that. All right. We'll see you later.
Morning kids, welcome back to Kids Church. My name's Callum. We're going to be doing the memory verse now. So we're going to read it and then we'll get into the activity. God said to David, "When your days are over and you rest with your ancestors, I will raise up your offspring to succeed you, your own flesh and blood, and I will establish his kingdom. He is the one who will build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever." 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 12 to 13. Okay kids, so this is the activity. I'm listening in because it might get a bit confusing. So what we're going to do is, we're going to read the memory verse just as before, but this time there's bits missing and the blanks are there to replace the words. We have photos. So David, throne, house, raise, kingdom. And these words have been taken out within the memory verse. So I'm going to read, God said to, have a blank, and then you'll shout out at home or call out what you think their answer is. And then we'll go from there. For example, God said to, what do we think? What do we think the answer is? I think it's David. That seems about right. So God said to David, when your days are over and you rest with your ancestors, I will. What do we think? Do we think it's I will throne up your offspring? No. I think it's raise. I will raise up your offspring. I will raise up your offspring to succeed you, your own flesh and blood, and I will establish his kingdom. I will establish his kingdom. He is the one who will build a house. That's right. For my name. And I will establish his throne. Right again. Of his... oh, there's only one left, but kingdom. Let's read it all again, see if it's right. God said to David, when your days are over and you rest with your ancestors, I will raise up your offspring to succeed you, your own flesh and blood, and I will establish his kingdom. He is the one who will build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 12 to 13. Thanks for listening, kid. That's all for the memory verse.
Hello! Today we're going to be learning from 2 Samuel chapter 9. So to help us tell the story, I've got some Lego people. So, this guy here, he's called David. He's going to be King David, who we've been learning about. This dude here is called Ziba. He was a servant to King Saul, the king who was king before David. This guy is called Mephibasheth. It's a bit of a funny name. Let's all have a practice saying it. Ready? Mephibasheth. 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 But I'm going to call him Michael because that's much easier to say. Now, Michael is in a wheelchair because he was lame in both feet. That means that he couldn't walk. Wheelchairs weren't invented yet when this story happened, but I made one so that we remember Michael. Alright, so into the story. One day, David asked, "Is there anyone who is part of Saul's family that I can be kind to for Jonathan's sake?" Now that question is a bit confusing, isn't it? Especially when we remember that Saul was David's enemy. He was king before David and kept trying to kill him. So to figure out why David wanted to be kind to his family, we have to look back at the book of 1 Samuel, the book before 2 Samuel. In 1 Samuel, Jonathan and David were good friends, and Jonathan was Saul's son. So Jonathan and David had promised that they would stay friends and protect each other's families. So here, David is remembering the promise he made to Jonathan and his family, even though Jonathan had died. So back to the story. David wanted to know if there was anyone from Saul's family who he could protect like he had promised. So, Ziba, who was one of Saul's servants, came and talked to David. He said that there is still one person left, and his name was Mephibasheth. But remember, we're calling him Michael. And that Michael was Jonathan's son and was lame in both feet. So that means that he wouldn't have been able to walk and therefore wouldn't have been able to work. It meant that Michael probably would have had to beg to get food and wouldn't have had many friends. So, David had Michael brought to him. Michael. When David came to Michael, he bowed down before him in respect. Michael was scared because he knew that Saul, his grandfather, had tried to kill David. He would have been scared that David was going to kill him. And David could have killed him because if you think about it, Michael probably could have tried to overthrow him and take the throne for himself. But don't worry, Michael wasn't thinking that at all. Michael was just still scared. But instead of killing him, David told him not to be afraid, that he was going to show him great kindness because of the promises he had made to Jonathon, Michael's father. David promised to give him land, and that Ziba's family would work as his servants. Now, this meant that Michael would not have to worry about being lame and not being able to work. Now Michael would always have land, which means that he would have money and be able to support himself and provide for himself and his family. But David didn't just give him land, he invited him to eat at his table. Now, this might not seem exciting to us today, but back then, by inviting Michael to eat at his table, David was inviting Michael to be part of his family. That's crazy! David was inviting his enemy's son to be part of his family. What great kindness! Now, just like David was kind to Michael, even though he didn't deserve it, God was kind to us, even though we didn't deserve it. He sent his son Jesus to come and die for us, even though we were his enemies. Romans 5 verses 8 says that God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. We were still sinners and still enemies of God. We did not deserve any kindness from him. But still, he showed us such kindness and love towards us when Jesus died for us, forgiving our sins. But not only did he forgive our sins, he invites us to be part of his family. How awesome is that? Trusting in Jesus can make us part of God's family. I think that's pretty cool.
Hi! I'm Katerina.
And I'm Genevieve.
And today we're going to pray for you.
Dear God, thank you for online school. Thank you that we can play board games with our family. Thank you that we have online church.
Thank you that we have technology like Zoom so we can still see our friends and family. Thank you that we have the freedom to exercise and with our family. Thank you that Jesus died on the cross.
Sorry for not obeying your rules. Sorry for not listening to our parents when they say so.
Sorry for not being thankful for the things we have. Sorry when we turn our backs on you.
Please help to do the right thing. Please help us to tell others about you.
Please help us to finish our schoolwork even when it's hard. Please may we be kind to one another in this lockdown. Amen.
Hi kids, it's Heather from Kids Church here, and I've got the craft for today. So today, in the story from 2 Samuel, David helps one of Saul's grandsons a man called Mephibasheth who can't walk. His feet are crippled. And to remember this and to live out what we've learned today, we're going to do a craft. We're going to make a card for a friend to let them know what we learned today, to let them know about Jesus, and to let them know something kind that we can do for them, the way we can love people during the time that we're not able to see them, even from far away. All right, I'll show you guys how to do it. So for our craft today, these are the things that we're going to need. So you'll need some, at the time, blank coloured paper. You can pick whatever colour you want or just plain paper, whatever you can find around your house. And you'll need some scissors. And you'll need maybe a pencil. And you'll need a pen for tracing. And if you want, you can also decorate it with some things. Some stickers. You might need some glue to stick those things on. And if you want, you can have the passage out as well. 2 Samuel 9. You can have a look at that to see what we're learning today. Now, to get started, I've already traced the writing with pencil onto the paper, and I've traced an outline of the love heart that I'm going to cut out for my card shape. You can make it whatever you want. You can make it a circle if you want to. You can make it a star, whatever you're happy to do. And then you can get your black marker and you can trace around your card. Don't worry if you've not quite got on the lines, you can always rub them out with an eraser. And then you can cut out your heart. Or you can actually do this, where you can fold it in half and you can just cut it out that way. It's up to you, but I've already drawn it, so I'm going to cut it this way. Okay, and once you've done that, you can get your black marker again, your black texter, whatever you have. And then you can start writing your letter. So you can write to whoever you want. It could be family, it can be a friend, it can be your next door neighbour. So I'm going to write to my my friend Cara. There we go. And then here's what we're going to write. We're going to write we. You can read it as I write it. Write down the kind thing that you're going to do. And so I'm going to be kind to my friend Cara by telling you this good news and asking if I can call you this week. You can buy nice things for someone, some groceries if they need it, buy them a gift. You can even just call them and see how they're going. I'm sure it's just a thoughtful thing for them and they'd appreciate that. And so I'll say from Heather. And this is how we can show the love of Jesus to other people. And I might even write up here, and you can as well, where it's from. So it's from 2 Samuel chapter 9. There we go. And then what you can do is you can decorate it with some nice things. And there we go. That's our craft this week. Thanks for joining me.
Hey everyone, we're going to sing again. We're going to sing a new song maybe for some of you. It's called Sometimes I Feel Afraid. And it reminds us that God is in control and He's powerful and awesome. I'm going to invite Ian to be able to come and do the actions with me again. So maybe you can listen through, know what it's talking about, but then maybe you can then do the actions maybe the next time through or something like that. It's a bit of fun. Let's give it a go. It goes like this. Sometimes I feel afraid of getting things all wrong. Of people who will tease me when they see the things I've done. And then I remember there's no need to be afraid. 'Cause my God, He is big, He's gigantic, He's enormous, He is powerful and strong, He's amazing and He's awesome, and there's nothing in this world that He couldn't pulverize. So I know I've got nothing to fear, no, so I know I've got nothing to fear. Okay, next one, let's give it a go. Sometimes I feel afraid of being on my own. There's no one here to play with me. I'll always be alone and stuck in my home in quarantine time. And then I remember there's no need to be afraid. Because my God, He's big, He's gigantic, He's enormous, He is powerful and strong, He's amazing and He's awesome, and there's nothing in this world that takes Him by surprise. There we go. This didn't take Him by surprise either. So I know I've got nothing to fear. No, so I know I've got nothing to fear. Okay. Sometimes I feel afraid of what's going on out there. There's sickness and there's sadness and there's mask wearing too and all that. And everywhere there is despair. And then I remember there's no need to be afraid. Why? Because my God, He is big, He's gigantic, He's enormous, He is powerful and strong, He's amazing and He's awesome, and there's nothing in this world that takes Him by surprise. So I know I've got nothing to fear, no, so I know I've got nothing to fear, because my God, He is big, He's gigantic, He's enormous, He is powerful and strong, He's amazing and He's awesome, and there's nothing in this world that takes Him by surprise. So I know I've got nothing to fear, no, so I know I've got nothing to fear. We got there. There's nothing to fear because Jesus is in control and He loves us very, very much.